Condroy Stainless and the Circular Economy. Waste minimization plans in stainless steel treatment. Our Earth is shrinking. Planetary health calls urgent attention to the extensive degradation of our planet for human advancement. The concept of the systems developed by Condroy focuses on reversing this trend by better balancing industrial needs with the preservation of the Earth to sustain the health and well-being of future generations. The situation today. We live longer and more prosperous lives than ever before. Life expectancy increased more than 20 years in the past half-century. Despite an increase in the total population of low-income countries, the total number of people living in extreme poverty has fallen by 700 million over the past 30 years. But we have dramatically altered our surroundings through our use and abuse of natural resources. These changes have profoundly negative impacts, both short and long term, on our health and well-being. The extraction of raw materials from the subsoil, the processes of deforestation, the emissions of greenhouse gases and the consumption of fresh waters cannot follow economic development hand in hand. However, as the current society is not ready to stop growth, the answer to a sustainable development can only come through the so-called decoupling process. This means that, through the use of technologies already available today, it is necessary to decouple the use of natural resources from economic growth. The two aspects of decoupling. Resource decoupling refers to reducing the rate of resource use per unit of economic activity. The dematerialization is based on using less material, energy, water and land resources from the same economic output. Impact decoupling requires increasing economic output while reducing negative environmental impacts. If we consider an industrial complex in metal surface treatment, we see that polluted water is generally managed by a wastewater treatment plant. Sludge goes to the dump while purified water goes into the rivers. In the case of circular economy, the polluted solutions, thanks to waste minimization technologies, are no more dumped, but regenerated and sent back to the production, while the secondary raw materials produced by the process are reused. This is a typical structure of a metal surface treatment line where both the treatment solution and rinse water get contaminated during the process. The ideal structure to manage the waste is a regeneration of the working bath by recovering the chemicals and the water concentration to recover chemical drag-out and produce demi-water. As you can see from the table, everything is reused with no more creation of wastes. Condroy Stainless offers waste minimization technologies using separation processes. According to the need, a different technology that uses a different driving force is applied. This leads to the choice of the most suitable separation process. And now some example of what Condroy Stainless can offer as circular economy in stainless steel pickling. As you will see, with the current technologies it is today possible to reach the goals of a zero discharge and a total resource recovery. In order to reach the goals, several steps have to be considered. Step 1 consists in the reconcentration of the solution drag-out using a reverse osmosis unit. The concentrated solution is recovered in the pickling tanks while the purified water is recycled in the rinsing steps. Step 2 consists in the recovery of the free acids from the pickling solution. Using an acid retardation unit, it is possible to separate the metal salts, which are dumped, from the good acids that are recovered. Step 3 is finally used to recover acids and metal scrap from the salt stream coming from the acid regeneration unit. Using an electrodialysis unit, it is possible to separate the salts producing metal scraps, which are recycled in the melting shop, and free acids to be recovered in the pickling solution. Step 4 consists in the recovery of nitric acid from the nitrogen oxide gases. The reoxidation unit applied on traditional pickling baths allows to reduce the NOx emissions and simultaneously to regenerate the consumed nitric acid. The NOx reoxidation is carried out by special oxidation catalyst using simple oxygen from the air. And to conclude, a closed-loop cycle in managing stainless steel pickling plant. The pickling solution is sent to residbed, where acids are regenerated and come back to the pickling tank, while salts are sent to coral unit, where metal scraps are produced and a further acid recovery occurs. In case of traditional pickling based on nitric acid, peroxysteel unit reduces NOx emission and regenerates nitric acid, which is reused in the pickling tanks. As far as rinse water concerns, with Taos unit, chemical dragouts are reconcentrated and sent back to the pickling unit, while demi-water is produced and recycled to the demi-rinse tank, and, by overflow, back to the rinse tank. No more waste to be disposed has to be considered. We have reached the zero discharge. We thank you for your attention.